and muddling through, and for me and for you as we are. And here's to us for egg in our beer and the cup of good cheer we can raise. Apropos of nothing I know, but for feeling like throwing bouquets. Here's to us forever and always.
Well, isn't that nice? Good afternoon and welcome to Albany Civic Theater's 60th Anniversary Cabaret. I'm Margaret Lamar King, the current president, and I'm very happy that you're here to celebrate with us today. There is a saying that if you want something done, ask a busy person. Well, I asked Dick Feldman, and he has been the genius behind this performance, doing the narrative, the locating and contacting the singers, helping choose the music, and adding a touch of choreography where needed. Dick has a wonderful history with ACT, spanning 50-plus years. I am most grateful to him. You will see and hear several hundreds years of theatrical experience on this stage today. Really. I started here in 1971, so I'll add my 44 years. I was 7. This audience also has staying power. I see members of our board, our subscribers and supporters, and people who have spent many happy times here with us on stage and off. I would like to welcome a few very special people today. You will hear the name Lou Urbano mentioned in a piece about the move to this building. Lou and his wife Angie were very busy in our earliest years. I am delighted to welcome Angie today, along with her 2 daughters, and they just celebrated Angie's 90th birthday. A couple of other notables from the audience, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but there are a couple that really need mentioning. Pat Riley, who with her family and cadre of friends and other theatrical folk did the whole Village Theater here for a number of years, a wonderful summer program for kids, and anytime this building wasn't being used for something with ACT, the whole Village kids were here and did an amazing job. So I welcome Pat Riley with us today. And I will mention the name Julie Ducker. And for those of you who have been longtime Albany Civic people, you'll recognize Julie as the wife of the late, great Jerry Ducker. So Julie is here, and their son Ian is now a member of our board. When you're looking at your program, you will notice there's one person missing, and that's Justine Caldas. She wasn't able to make it this weekend, so her name is still in the program, but she's not with us today. You will notice we have an interesting set. We're a working theater, and just 1 week ago today, we closed our run of Proposals by Neil Simon. And we start rehearsing tomorrow for our next show, The Night of the Iguana, by Tennessee Williams, directed by Juliet King. That opens in May. So we left the walls painted. That's a nice tune. We left the walls painted as they are for now, and I think it gives the illusion of warmth. Right? We're in the Now, I'm very honored to welcome the Mayor of Albany, Mayor Kathy Sheehan, and I'd like to ask her up to share a few words. Now you're on stage, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. It's wonderful to join you this afternoon and to congratulate you on this wonderful anniversary. It's very exciting to see when you have an institution like this that just continues and continues because of the people who love it, because of the performers who come back again and again. I will confess to this small group, there's no media here, right? So I've been guilty of acting a little bit myself. When I was in high school, I really enjoyed being in plays, but My big breakthrough was playing Mammy Yokum in a Civic Theater production of Little Abner in Hudson, Ohio. So I don't think there's any evidence. There were no video cameras or anything like that back then. But it is a great honor to be able to present you with a proclamation on this auspicious occasion of your anniversary. And I won't read everything, but in recognition of the number of musicals and shows that you've had, the memories that you have created, not only for residents of the city of Albany, but for the entire capital region, I am happy to declare today Albany Civic Theater Day.
Thank you very much. Well, isn't that a nice way to start? I'd also like to take a moment to thank my wonderful cast for their work to make this performance a reality. Some traveled to get here from New York City, Massachusetts, Philadelphia, Germantown, and others are more local. We met on Thursday, a couple days ago, and everyone was ready to go. I am always grateful to have the chance to work with my brother, Paul Lamar. He's just the best. I will wear my theater manager hat for a moment and remind you of the emergency exits on your left and right and in the back where you entered. Please take a moment to turn off your electronics. I didn't have to say that in the 70s. But, please join us in the lobby after the performance for a reception and a meet and greet. Special thanks to Ed Countermine, Leonard Bopp, and their terrific hospitality team. And a special thanks to our friend Emile Van Syn, who has made the cakes for this weekend, and they are delicious, so be sure you get one before you go. Part of one, not all of it. We're pleased you could join us as we celebrate our 60th, and I'd like to introduce our Master of Ceremonies, our board's Artistic Director, Kevin McNamara.
Thank you very much, Margaret, and welcome everybody. It's nice to see everyone, and welcome to our 60th anniversary of Albany Civic Theater. It's our cabaret, it's our gala review, and maybe even it's our first annual of this kind of event. We'll see what the future brings. But today, we have assembled a very talented group of performers who created many memorable roles back in the 1960s and 70s. And those years have come to be known as the golden years of the musical here at Albany Civic Theater.
Celestial, the best you'll agree. Each gem welcome them, beautiful diadems. Welcome them, these beautiful girls.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nan Elliott, Betsy Riley, Diane Arduini, Dick Hart, Mimi Scott, Gail Garrison, and Adam Coons, Paul Lamar at the piano, and I'm Kevin McNamara, your MC for this afternoon. The song, Beautiful Girls, is from Sondheim's Follies, which celebrated Albany Civic Theater's 25th anniversary at the Palace Theater. So if you will indulge us, we'd like to give you a little history of Albany Civic Theater. And for some of you, this may be a trip down memory lane. Albany Civic Theater was actually born in 1955 when the Playhouse, a professional theater on Lodge Street run by Malcolm Atterbury, closed its doors. A group of theater-minded people called the Albany Dramatic Group had an organizational meeting to fill the void left by the Lodge Street Theater. And 9 months later, Marion Kazmar directed Blithe Spirit. The city of Troy had a community theater called the Ilium Players. And after a chance meeting with Sally Wallenstein-Fiordolino of that group and Martha J. Downey of the Albany Dramatic Group, Albany Civic Theater was born. In 1957, Albany Civic Theater moved to 115 Beaver Street and began using the second floor space for storage and rehearsals. And after months of remodeling, the second floor was transformed into a 125-seat theater. It was this primitive performing space, with a pole in the middle of the theater, that Albany Civic Theater presented its first musical, Bells Are Ringing. Governor Nelson A. Rockefeller's plan for the Empire State Plaza threatened to end Albany Civic Theater. But President Gene Hoyt contracted City Hall. When Mayor Erastus Corning II approved the suggestions that we look at an old firehouse on 2nd Avenue, there was no hope, as the members thought it was inappropriate. However, a theater architect from the New York Council on the Arts examined the building and made some encouraging suggestions. Lou Urbano built the stage. Maureen Dumas had a raked concrete floor installed. The seats came from the long-abandoned Paramount Theater. The upstairs became dressing rooms, makeup and wardrobe areas, and a place for set construction. The coal bin became the box office, and the ladies' room had a very high ceiling where the hoses had been stored. The 1964-65 season opened with The Man Who Came to Dinner, directed by Albany Civic Theater veteran Lloyd Szymanski. For the following 20 years, Albany Civic Theater enjoyed its golden years of musicals, which people thought were impossible because of the small stage and the circular staircase as the only stage entrance. But creativity, ingenuity, and an abundance of artistic talent on stage and off proved otherwise. The last big musical of that bygone era was Man of La Mancha. In 1984, Dick Hart, who created the role of Cervantes, will now sing about realizing the impossible dream.
Let me set the stage. I shall impersonate a man. His name, Alonzo Quijana, a country squire, no longer young, bony, hollow-faced, eyes that shine with the beauty of inner vision. He had much time for books, being retired. He studied them from morn till night, and often through the night as well. And all he reads oppressed him, filled him with indignation at man's murderous ways towards man. He brewed, and brewed, and brewed. And finally, from so much brooding, his brains dried up. He laid down the melancholy example of sanity and conceived the strangest project ever imagined, to become a knight-errant and sally forth into the world to right all wrong. No longer shall he be plain Alonzo Quijana, but a country squire, known as Don Quixote de la Mancha. Hear me now, O thou bleak and unbearable world, thou art base and debauched as can be. And a knight with his banners all bravely unfurled, now hurls down his gauntlet to thee. I, Don Quixote, the Lord of La Mancha, my destiny calls and I go. And the wild winds of fortune will carry me onward, oh, whithersoever I blow. Whithersoever I blow. virtue shall triumph at last. I am I, Don Quixote, the Lord of La Mancha. My destiny calls and I go, and the wild winds of fortune will carry me onward, oh, whithersoever they blow. Whithersoever they blow, onward to glory I go, and the world will be better for this, that one man, scorned and covered with scars, still strove with his last ounce of courage to reach the unreachable star.
Now, before we go back any further in time, we're going to jump ahead, almost 20 years, to the new generation. Adam Coons, who is currently the Vice President of Public Relations on our board, appeared in the musical Working in 2001. And like so many of his predecessors, he is a light, sound, and set designer, a director, and a general all-around dependable member of the group. Adam will now sing Fathers and Sons from Working.
I heard a lot of songs say, "Where you going, my son?" Now I know they're true. For you never stop to think how fast the years run. Now they've taken you. I remember you was 3.5. You mind me, we'd sit there after things got quieted. We'd laugh at some new word you said, how tough you were to get to bed, and we'd plan the night away, planning for our kid. I was your hero then. I couldn't do no wrong as far as you were concerned. You thought I was the best of men. The tables hadn't turned. You had learned how little time it takes. Daddies make mistakes. Seems to me that lately I've been thinking a lot. I think about my dad. Lots of funny things come back I thought I'd forgot. Now they make me sad. High school and it used to be, I didn't want him touching me, and I'd shudder if he did. Further back to summer nights, baseball games beneath the lights, and sleeping in the car. My daddy and his kid. He was my hero then. He couldn't do no wrong as far as I was concerned. and the strongest and the best of men. The tables hadn't turned. I had learned how little time it takes, and everybody breaks. And daddies make mistakes. Songs say, where you going, my son? Now I know they're true. Boy, you never stop to think how fast the years run and the things they steal. Now it seems I always knew why I do the things I do and the things I never did. Why I work my whole damn life so's I could give a better life than the one my dad could give me. I give it to my kid.
Well, back in 1964, Gypsy began a series of musical successes for the next 20 years. In the seasons of 1967 and 68, Albany Civic Theatre presented 3 musical hits: The Pajama Game, Little Mary Sunshine, which played for an unprecedented 5 weekends, and featured Dick Hart and Mimi Scott, and The Boys from Syracuse, which also featured Dick and Mimi. In 1970, Dick and Mimi had leading roles in Guys and Dolls.
It says here, the average unmarried female, basically insecure, due to some long frustration, may react with psychosomatic symptoms, difficult to endure, affecting the upper respiratory tract. In other words, just from waiting around for that plain little band of gold, a person can develop a cold. You can spray it wherever you figure the streptococci like. You can give her a shot for whatever she's got, but it just won't work. If she's tired of getting the fisheye from the hotel clerk, a person can develop a cold. And furthermore, just from stalling the wedding trip, a person can develop a grip, the post-nasal drip. When they get on the train for Niagara, and she can hear church bells chime. The compartment is air-conditioned and the mood sublime. Then they get off at Saratoga for the 14th time. A person can develop a grip, a post-nasal grip, and the wheezes, and the sneezes, and a sinus that's really a pip, from a lack of community property, and a feeling she's getting too old. A person can develop a bad
but there is room for doubt. At times you have a very unladylike way of running out. You're on a date with me, the pickings have been lush, and yet before this evening is over you might give me the rush. You might forget your manners, you might forget to stay, and so the best that I can do is pray. Luck be a lady tonight, luck be a lady tonight. Luck if you've never been a lady to begin with, luck be a lady tonight. Luck let a gentleman see how nice a dame you can be. I know the way you treated other guys you've been with. Luck be a lady with me. A lady doesn't leave her escort. It isn't fair. It isn't nice. A lady doesn't wander all over the room and blow on some other guy's dice. So let's keep the party polite. Never get out of my sight. Stick with me, baby, I'm the fella you came in with. Luck be a lady, luck be a lady, luck be a lady tonight.
"1971 brought us Little Me with Nan Elliott and Dick Hart, who played 8 different characters. It was followed in 1973 with Stop the World, I Want to Get Off. And in 1975, Albany Civic Theater celebrated its 20th anniversary by presenting Kiss Me Kate at Albany High School's theater, starring Betsy Riley and Gary Aldrich. 1977 saw 2 musical hits, Cabaret, which was held over for a 4th weekend, and an original revue called A Touch of Rogers, starring Nan Elliott, Betsy Riley, Dick Hart, Gary Aldrich, and Justine Caldas. Right now, Betsy and Nan will sing 2 of those wonderful Richard Rogers songs.
I tried.
After one whole quart of brandy, like a baby, I awake, with no Roma seltzer handy, I don't even shake. Love is not a new sensation. I've done pretty well, I think, till this half-pint imitation put me on the brink. I'm wild again, beguiled again, a simpering, whimpering child again, bewitched, bothered, and bewildered am I. I couldn't sleep and wouldn't sleep until I could sleep where I shouldn't sleep. again, bewitched, bothered, and bewildered no more. Couldn't sleep, was dyspeptic, my whole life was so hard to bear. But now my heart's antiseptic since he moved out of there. I'm vexed again, perplexed again. Thank God I won't be oversexed again. Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered no more. Valentine, sweet, comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart. Your looks are laughable, unphotographable, yet you're my favorite work of art. Is your figure less than Greek? Is your mouth a little weak when you open it to speak? Are you smart? So don't change your hair for me, not if you care for me. Stay, funny Valentine, stay. Each day is Valentine's Day. Is your figure less than Greek? Is your mouth a little weak when you open it to speak? Are you smart? So don't change one single hair for me, not if you care for me. Stay, funny Valentine, stay. Each day is Valentine's Day.
From I Do, I Do in 1978, Betsy and Dick will now sing This House to remind us of our 2nd Avenue home.
This has been a very good house ever since we married. It has
Fantastics followed in 1979, and Diane Arduini, who created the role of Louisa, will sing Try to Remember, which we've all been trying to do these past few weeks. That same year, Albany Civic Theatre celebrated its 25th anniversary with a lavish production of Follies at Albany's Palace Theatre. And it starred Gail Garrison and Betsy Riley.
The sun comes up, I think about you. The coffee cup, I think about you. I want you so, it's like I'm losing my mind. The morning ends, I think about you. I talk to friends and think about you. And do they know it's like I'm losing my mind? All after I dim the lights and think about you. Spend sleepless nights to think about you. You said you loved me, or were you just being kind? Or am I losing my mind? I want you so, it's like I'm losing my mind. Does no one know? It's like I'm losing my mind. All afternoon doing every little chore. The thought of you stays bright. Sometimes I stand in the middle of the floor, not going left, not going right. I dim the lights and think about you. Spend sleepless nights to think about you. You said you loved me, or were you just being kind? Or am I losing my mind?
One of the first things that comes is the memory, so. Here we go.
Here's a little story that should make you cry about two unhappy dames. Let us call them Lucy X and Jessie Y, which are not their real names. Now Lucy has the purity along with insecurity that comes with being only 21. Jessie has maturity and plenty of security. Whatever you can do with them, she's done. Given their advantages, you may ask why these two ladies have such grief. This is my belief. In brief, Lucy is juicy but terribly drab. Jessie is dressy but cold as a slab. Lucy wants to be dressy, Jessie wants to be Lucy. Lucy wants to be Jessie, and Jessie Lucy. You see, Jessie is racy but hard as a rock. Lucy is lacy but dull as a smock. Jessie wants to be lacy, Lucy wants to be Jessie. That's the sorrowful crazy. It is very messy. Poor sad souls, itching to be switching roles. Lucy wants to do what Jessie does. Jessie wants to be what Lucy was. It's wearing. Lucy's a lassie, you pat on the head. Jessie is classy, but virtually dead. Lucy wants to be classy, Jessie wants to be lassie. If Lucy and Jessie could only combine, I could tell you someone who would finally feel just fine.
Oh, I'm sorry. I told you it was going. I'm working on it. It was a long song. Wait a minute. No, that's not it. Oh, there it is. I'm ready now. Sorry.
And we do think you're going to love tomorrow, at least as far as our next season is concerned. Please look on the back page of your program to see our 2015 and 16 season. And by the way, it does include a musical, so maybe it's a trend. Would you like to see more musicals at Albany Civic Theater? The 80s began with 110 in the Shade, Mr. Scrooge, and Fanny. And in 1984, Man of La Mancha ended what has become referred to as the golden years of Albany Civic Theater musicals. We would like to acknowledge our musical director, Paul Lamar, Margaret King, and the entire ACT Board of Directors, and all of our subscribers and friends. And now our entire cast, led by Nan Elliott, will sing Here's to Us from Little Me, hoping that we'll see at least another 60 years here on 2nd Avenue.